Good morning on this energizing Wednesday. One day this month, we woke up to an email from a loyal New York Today reader. There has been an outbreak of emotional support animals on airlines, but what's up with the proliferation of pets in the subway? It's getting out of control. What are the rules around it? Having recently watched a 70-pound golden doodle named Augustus leap into a taxi, we, too, were curious. Shams Tarak, a spokesman for the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, pointed out the agency's rules of conduct for the subway. No person may bring any animal on or into any conveyance or facility unless enclosed in a container and carried in a manner which would not annoy other passengers. The word annoy is, of course, subjective. A good boy in one rider's eyes may be a slobbering monster to another. Service animals and dogs working for law enforcement are exempt from the rules, but emotional support animals are not. While it's impossible to track dog ridership, Detective Kellyanne Ort, a police spokeswoman, said, any summonses that may be issued for animals present in the transit system are issued infrequently. Only 85 were issued in 2017, a tiny percentage of the 70,000 total summonses issued across the transit system last year. But if you'd rather stay on the right side of the law regardless, you might consider hailing a taxi. Drivers cannot turn away any person with a disability, or any accompanying guide dog. If it's not a service animal, though, the driver may deny you if your pet is not properly secured in a suitable container, according to the New York City Taxi and Limousine Commission. That's the answer as addressed in our rules, Alan J. Fromberg, the group's deputy commissioner for public affairs, told us. But needless to say, there are many drivers who, of their own volition, will be more permissive regarding animals. I've heard many stories about the kindness of drivers who have transported passengers with sick animals on their way to the veterinarian's office or animal hospital. Here's what else is happening. If yesterday had you smiling, today will have you dancing in the streets. Blue skies and sunshine on this final day of February, with a high of 57. Clouds will roll in later. Get outside while you can. The rest of the week is looking gloomy and wet, though a winter storm in January caused chaos at Kennedy International Airport in New York. Logan International Airport in Boston quickly recovered. Here's why. New York Times. They've been left without heat or hot water. Now tenant leaders representing 400,000 people living in public housing are suing the New York City Housing Authority. New York Times. Someday, the number 7 subway line could lead you to New Jersey. New York Times. Charges against a detective are the latest suggestion that perjury remains a persistent problem in the New York Police Department. New York Times. Despite its status as a sanctuary city, New York City has seen deportations climb. New York Times. ZD was a word frequently used in the closing arguments in the case of Joseph Percoco, the former aide to Gov. Andrew M. Cuomo. It was referring to cash bribes. New York Times. A man from New York was arrested in Japan after the police found a severed head and several other body parts while conducting a search for a missing woman. New York Times. Schools in New York City have received at least 40 threats since the shooting in Parkland, FLA, according to the FBI. New York Post. A new bill proposed in the City Council would require students to be taught about opioid abuse. CBS. New York. Identical twin brothers who perform on subway platforms are gaining popularity after a viral tweet showed them covering a Beatles song with uncanny resemblance. NBC. New York. What can the shape of snowflakes reveal about climate change? WNYC. Today's Metropolitan Diary, long brown robe and a wooden staff for a global look at what's happening. See your morning briefing: How the Nuns of New York Tamed the Gangs of New York, a show at the Sheen Center for Thought and Culture in NoHo. Noon. $20. A Black History Month celebration brings poetry, performances, and more to Sorrentino Recreation Center in Queens. 4:30 p.m. Free Beethoven, a piano trio commissioning works from leading young composers, performs at Roulette in Boerum Hill, Brooklyn. 8 p.m. $25. Looking ahead, Time Stocks presents the director, producer, and screenwriter Ava DuVernay, who will discuss her film A Wrinkle in Time on March 8. Tickets here: Icelanders at Canadians, 7 p.m. Message Plus. Rangers at Canucks, 10 p.m. Message: alternate side parking remains in effect until Thursday. For more events, see the Times' Arts and Entertainment Guide. Purim begins tonight. The Jewish holiday, likened to Halloween, revolves around the Book of Esther, also known as the Megillah. The very abridged version of the book, an adored queen named Esther thwarts the evil plot of Haman to murder all the Jews in her kingdom in ancient Persia. She uses her smarts, influence and goodwill to save her people, and Haman is hanged. So came the traditional Purim food: ham and taskin, triangular pastries in the shape of Haman's legendary three-cornered hat. That's just one interpretation, here are others. You can celebrate by cooking up these Purim recipes from the Times, dressing up for a young professional's Purim bash or an LGBTQ Purim ball in Manhattan, or joining families at a Grateful Dead-themed Purim party at Brooklyn Bowl in Williamsburg, to name a few. And you can learn about the other protagonists of the Purim story, including Mordecai and King Ahasuerus here. New York Today is a morning roundup that is published on weekdays at 6 a.m. If you don't get it in your inbox already, you can sign up to receive it by email here. For updates throughout the day, like us on Facebook. What would you like to see here to start your day? Post a comment, email us at newyorktoday@newyorktimes.com, or reach us via Twitter using number NYToday. Follow the New York Today columnists Alexandra Levine and Jonathan Wolfe on Twitter. You can find the latest New York Today at newyorktoday.com.